St Paul's is my church home. It's a church home for many, many brothers and sisters.
It's a local church in the suburbs. There's nothing particularly trendy or cool about it.
And it's the home of CityAlight. It's where the people of CityAlight sit on a Sunday. It's the teaching that we sit under. And it's the place that we come to worship.
Like every other church, St Paul's has its mission partners, partners that it resonates well with. One of those partners for St Paul's is the International Justice Mission, IJM.
It's something that the church has been behind for a number of years now because we recognise the importance of the work that they're doing.
It's not good enough to just sit in these pews, these chairs, and just consume and go, how good is God? Well, how good is what God is doing, without actually taking that to the world.
The thing about CityAlight is it's a volunteer-run ministry. So all of us here, whether we're singers, musicians, songwriters, whatever, we all have day jobs. Through my work, I actually had the privilege of being able to meet one of those survivors. Her name was Ruby. We ended up writing a podcast, a true crime podcast about Ruby's story. And in doing so, I got to really dive deep into her life. I got to hear her voice. And I got to see what IJM's doing. I got to go into the prisons where people have been put away. I got to talk to investigators and law enforcement. I actually got to go and visit an aftercare shelter, which is a place where people who have just been rescued come to be restored. And when I got home, I actually got sent a video from one of the staff workers there because they had come across the song Jesus Strong and Kind and knew that I had a part in writing it. And they had sung the song on video and done actions and things like that. I took it to Johnny and Tiana and we looked at it and we thought, goodness, this is incredible that these girls are able to sing these words after everything they've gone through, and with such hope, with such joy, and with such peace.
You know, to see these girls who have seen firsthand Jesus' strength in rescuing them and his kindness in restoring them slowly. It's going to be a long process, maybe a lifetime. It was really remarkable.
To be able to get up there and sing those words, Jesus is strong and kind and I can run to him, opened my eyes to a whole new level of what that means.
Little did we know that at that time there was a new network being formed, a network called the Philippine Survivor Network.
So the Philippine Survivor Network, it actually is a unified network of survivors, most of them from IJM's casework of commercial sexual exploitation, other forms of abuse.
We wanted to come together as a group because the many that we are, the more that we can be heard.
Their vision actually is that in 10 years' time, they will have significantly contributed to shaping the justice systems where children, vulnerable children, are protected, but also that the justice systems work with survivors.
The voice of these survivors is going to be what helps put an end to this form of trafficking. And so we had this kind of idea of like, wouldn't it be fantastic to do a duet? If we can play a small part in helping bring awareness in partnership with this network, wouldn't that just be a wonderful thing? And so in a casual conversation with Meryl, I mentioned this idea of a song, a duet.
I said, okay, well, let's just bring that opportunity to the survivors. And so we sent word and said, hey, does anybody have experience singing in a choir? Do you want to be a part of this? And many of them raised their hands and volunteered to be a part of it.
I remember the morning that we pulled up to the church in the Philippines. We just sort of pulled up in this van. We didn't really know where we were going.
And the first thing that we all noticed, and this is the first thing that we all talked about, was just the joy.
And I remember just hearing everybody share like how they were feeling and what they were expecting. And it's a lot of excitement. A lot of the survivors were sharing how they felt blessed to be a part of that, how a lot of them are excited, expectant even.
So I remember when we moved in from that church area into the back room where we're going to be doing this recording. Now we weren't expecting it to be a professional recording studio, but I wasn't quite expecting what it was.
Even though it was hot, we managed to to enjoy each other's company and discover the creative skills that your team has in makeshift recording studios.
As soon as they started to sing, it just filled with this incredible noise, this incredible sound of joy-filled hearts just singing of the strength and the kindness of Jesus. It was incredible.
So in the studio, we had the choir sing the song, and it was gorgeous. And then we had Taya do the second verse for us. So Taya volunteered to be the kind of soloist of the choir. And she has this very lovely, very precious, very sweet voice. And so she sung the second verse, and it's beautiful. It sounds just incredible.
So that was a little bit exciting for me because I was able to sing again together with the amazing people from the PSN. And even though it's repetitive, I still enjoyed every time we repeat the song.
This new type of slavery, where children are the ones being exploited, is very, very difficult to stomach. It's young children being sexually abused online for paying customers from countries like ours, in Australia, in the US. These men find families that have access to children, and they commission sort of live shows to happen on platforms like Skype and WhatsApp. It's not happening in the dark web, it's all happening on the surface web.
When I first heard about this OSEC crime, I was angry, I was upset, and I was confused about why people would do this to other people in general, but why people would do this to children is another thing that rattled me. But also hearing that the people that are consuming this crime or taking part of it are just like you and me. They're just ordinary people that we stand side by side with every day in our workplaces here in Sydney, Australia. We got the opportunity to go to the IJM headquarters and hear from people who have given their lives over to fighting for this crime and fighting for these people and fighting against this injustice that is OSEC.
The amazing thing about these people is that they're all in. It costs a lot for them to do what they do. Emotionally, physically, spiritually. The things that they have to look at, things they have to know, it costs a lot.
And I would ask them, how do you manage to look after yourself? How do you manage to survive, do this day in, day out? And all of them said the same thing. They remind themselves of who God is and of their part that they're playing in God's plan. The language they used was about looking up always. So for CityAlight, that's central to our ministry.
We try to fill our songs with truth about who God is, so that on a Wednesday morning, when you don't have the right feelings, you can at least hold on to the truth and hold on to what you know to be true. We hope that the words of the songs will work in such a way that it lifts your eyes up and reminds you who God is. So I think when you're confronted with a problem like OSEC, you have to look up and see God for who he really is. And when you look up, instead of despairing, you could say, actually, we have a God who's all-powerful and can do something about this. And ultimately, he won't let the abusers get away with it.
Like, I think about scripture that says God's throne, the foundations of his throne, is justice and righteousness, right? If you read through the Psalms and the Proverbs, it's clear God hates injustice. He hates violence. There will be a day when wicked men will be punished. But the righteous, he loves, he blesses,
We headed into the aftercare shelter and met about 25 very young girls who were in immediate aftercare for their experience, and the joy that filled that room was insane. We walked through the door and these girls just ran and greeted us with smiles, and
it was so wonderful, so joyful to be with them, to play with them, to sing with them. Tian got the guitar out and sang with them, and it was just a very special moment. I don't think we're going to forget that in a very long time. Of course, a song like this, it needs a video as well. It needs a music video to go alongside it. And so we're trying to figure out what kind of music video will we do. There's this incredible cornfield, and it is visually stunning. It's got this big mountain in the background and just rows and rows and rows of corn as far as you can see. And so we went and had a look at that and we thought, yeah, let's do something here. Let's set up the choir out here. And of course, then we took the music video back to our church and displayed it up on the projectors for the live night recording as well, which was really precious as well. So our church could be involved in the song too. And
it felt very natural. It felt like kind of a family coming together because we had the same purpose, and because we serve the same God.
And it was a privilege to think about, or to be able to sing with them, to think about where they've been and what they've been through. It feels like they are able to see different angles of God and different parts of who Jesus is that we're never going to know unless we speak to them and know what or can hear what they've been through. And so it was a privilege to be able to be led by these young people.
It's very overwhelming, and I'm really blessed. I'm really privileged to know that the Lord is always there, that I can always come to Him. I can always run to Him. It says in the song that we can always run to Jesus, and that's so true. And I'm a living testament that He would always listen. That it also says in the song that Jesus says, if I am lost, He will come to me. And that's very, very, very true. He's very true to His words.